Hey, welcome back to my channel, or if you're a new viewer, hi, my name's Michelle. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today. So this video is going to be a follow-up to the video I did in January where I was picking I called it a monthly makeup drawer. It was more like a bi-monthly makeup drawer. So because this is such a new series here on my channel, there's going to be little tweaks along the way. And the first thing that I want to change is when I filmed the first video, picking out the products for what I called my monthly makeup drawer, it's going to have to be more like a bi-monthly type of thing, just because I realized with the amount of products that I picked and the amount of products that I receive, whether it's an Ipsy, BoxyCharm, stuff that I'm buying that I want to try, like new makeup releases, a month's time is really not long enough to be really getting like good use out of the products that I picked. So this is going to be more like a bi-monthly video here on my channel where I pick out specific makeup products. I really make a conscious effort to use those products during my everyday makeup routine. And I gotta tell you, when I did that in January, I really did get some great use out of a lot of the products that I put in that drawer. So this is a series I'm really excited about doing. It's gonna allow me to get a lot of use out of what's already in my collection. I'm hoping this also kind of curbs my desire to buy a lot of newer products. I'm gonna be honest with you, I've done a shit job so far in January and February with my low buy. It's really hard to quit that habit of that impulse buying, which is what I do. Impulse buying and buying because, I'm stressed or whatever. It's a coping mechanism. So I'm really trying to get away from that. And I feel like if I continue to pull this bi-monthly makeup drawer, it'll be a good way to help with that. So I also wanted to kind of update you in this video on my low buy situation, how I've been doing. As I've told you guys several times, not well, haven't been doing so great. I feel like this month was probably a little bit better than last month, and I'm hoping March will be better than February. So what we're going to do now is go over the products that I picked for my January makeup drawer, and I'm going to let you know if I used it, what I thought about it, if my thoughts have changed. I'm going to let you know if I'm decluttering something, if it's something I never used. That's what we're doing first, and then I'm going to show you the process of picking out my next makeup drawer. And then we'll continue this type of video, this type of series here on my channel. So make sure you let me know down below if this is something you guys are interested in watching from me. Again, I know it's helpful for me because it helps me to use what I already have. I'm hoping that you guys find it interesting. Let's get into this video. Okay, let's kick it off with primers. So the first one I'm sharing with you, I actually haven't used at all since I pulled it into this rotation. So I'm going to keep it in the next rotation for that reason. This is the Farsali Skin Tune Blur. It's just not one that I'm super excited to keep using. I don't remember really loving this when I first got it. So I'm going to kind of set this aside instead of putting it back into like my main collection and maybe use it some more next month. Okay, next up is the Waso Primer from Shiseido. This is one I actually really like. I used it several times this past month. I'm really stuck on using my oil and shine control from Smashbox, especially when I'm going to work, because I know it helps to keep my makeup on longer. But this is a really good primer. It does help my makeup stay on longer. It makes things nice and mattified. It does help a little bit with the pores. So this is going to go back into my normal makeup collection, but I enjoyed using it all month. Okay, and the next up is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I actually forgot to use this month. This is one that I can really only use when I'm like going to the store, when my makeup's not going to be on very long. I can't really use this underneath my makeup to go to work because it won't wear very long. It's a beautiful primer though. I love wearing it when I don't have to wear makeup long, and I just forgot to use it. So I'm actually not going to keep this in rotation. I'm just going to pull it out when I kind of get the urge to use it. I just know for my everyday makeup routine, it's not going to get used like that. So it's going back, but it's a beautiful primer. If you're somebody with dry skin, I think you would really like this. Okay, let's head on over to foundations. The first one is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. This is such a fantastic foundation. You guys saw that when I reviewed it in one of my prior videos. I used it pretty much all month long, mixing it in with other foundations. So I'm going to put this back in my collection, and I don't have anything negative to say about it. It's really good. Next up is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I actually have two. I'm trying to get this one. Well, this one's almost gone, so I'm trying to use that up. I'm dipping into this one because it's lighter. I love this foundation. I knew that I liked it before I pulled it into this rotation. And I'm actually going to stick it back into my collection for right now just because I use it kind of off and on anyway. It's not one that I feel like I need to get use out of. So it's going back, but I love it. It's really good for somebody with oily skin because it's long wearing. Okay, next up is the Jane Iredale Beyond Matte Foundation. This is one that I mixed in with other foundations. I don't think it's bad. It's not my like first pick when I go to reach into my foundation collection. So it is a little bit mattifying. It does kind of settle into my fine lines and stuff. It's just not like a standout product to me, but I'm going to put it back into my makeup collection for now. We're not going to keep it in this rotation. And I definitely got some use out of it. All right, we have 2 more foundations. This one is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I didn't even use it this month. I actually dread using this because it's so drying. It settles into all my fine lines and wrinkles. It's not the right shade for me. It smells terrible. I really, really dislike this foundation, so I'm actually going to declutter this one out of my collection. Okay, last but not least is the Ultra Latent Velvet Foundation from Chanel. I never used it. This one is, well, I've used it once when I first got it, but it doesn't have a whole lot of coverage to it, and it's very slippy. So this is one that I would have to wear, like, if I'm not going to be wearing my makeup very long and I'm not going anywhere. Because if I put it on underneath a mask, it's just going to wear off everywhere. So maybe I should leave I'm going to leave this one in my rotation for right now because I do want to try it out and get some more use out of it. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's just not, I wouldn't say this is ideal for somebody with oily skin. All right, getting into the powders now. I have the Pretty Vulgar powder. This one is really good. I've liked it for a long time. I've had it for quite a while. This is not necessarily a powder that I feel like I need to get more use out of because I've used it quite a bit. And I did use it several times over the course of the last month and a half or so. So this is going back into my collection. I still really love this powder. Next up is the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder. Again, another powder that I really enjoy. It's not one that I feel like I'm struggling to get use out of. This is like the second time I've had one of these little minis. I'm already getting used through it, so I really don't feel the need to keep it in this rotation. It's going back. Still love it. Last but not least is my JCat Aquasurance. I think I used this twice this past month. This reminds me a lot of the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless powder. It's just super smoothing if you have pores, if you have oily skin, if you're looking for something just to make you look airbrushed and smooth, this is the powder for you. It is fantastic. I am going to go ahead and put it back in my collection though. We're not going to keep it in for this round. I do really enjoy it though. Okay, I pulled several like blush and bronzer palettes, contour palettes, whatever. So the first palette is from e.l.f. This is their cream blush palette. I did use this, and believe it or not, I was floored by how much I enjoyed this. I was really scared that this was going to leave my cheeks looking greasy and it just wasn't going to look good and it was going to pick up stuff. I didn't have that experience with this at all. They're very pigmented, very creamy. Even though they look oily, like I don't get it. Even though they look oily, when you swatch them out, they look very they are very emollient. They dry down to like a matte finish. Not totally matte. They look a little luminous, but they're not oily luminous, if that makes any kind of sense. I think this is such a fantastic palette, especially for the price point. So I am going to put this back into my collection. I did use it, and I'm glad that I forced myself to use it. Next up is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette. This month was the first time I'd ever used this. I'd actually used it twice. Which I know, big deal, right? I used a product twice. But for somebody like me that has the amount of product that I have, that's what I'm trying to do with this type of video, is get any kind of use out of certain products. So I'm not going to keep it in this rotation. We're going to throw it back in my makeup collection, but I do really like it. So I'm excited to get more use out of it in the future. I don't feel like I need to force myself to now since I've kind of taken it for a test run. It's good. It's pretty old, so I'm surprised it's still good. Okay, last but not least in the face palette category is the Morphe 8L. This one's got bronzer shades or contour shades or whatever. I guess it would be dependent on your skin tone. And then it's got this little quad of highlighters here. So the bronzers or contours or whatever you want to call them, I don't care for those. I feel like they end up patchy. I don't like those, okay? I've tried different ones and I'm not a fan. However, I really enjoy the highlighters. The highlighters are really good. So I've used both this month. I tried to get more use out of it. It's just not a favorite palette of mine. So I'm going to put it back in my makeup collection and it's going to live there for right now. So as far as single blushes, I have an Hourglass blush. This one's called Luminous Flush and it's really beautiful. I've used it a couple times. I really like it. I'm glad that I put it in this rotation and I'm going to throw it back into my collection for right now. I also had pulled the LA Girl Just Blushing and Just Peachy. This is another one I've gotten plenty of use out of. It's really beautiful. I didn't get as much use like during this rotation per se, but I've used it a lot in general. So I'm going to put it back into my collection. It's a stunning peachy blush. Oh, I forgot. I'd also pulled a cream blush. This one's from All Natural, and it's called their Cream Multi-Stick in Grapefruit. I didn't use this. There's just something about this formula. It's very stiff. It reminds me a lot of the Orgasm blush, the way it looks. It's got that, like, it's pink, but it's got that orange kind of flip to it. It's really beautiful. You know what? Let's leave that in this rotation because I do want to get some use out of it. I think it's stunning. I'm so scared of cream products. I always shy away when it comes to like doing my makeup. I want to use them, but I'm afraid they're going to screw up my makeup look, so then I just don't. So let's keep that in. I'm going to force myself to use that. Okay, when it comes to concealers, I actually used all the concealers that I pulled. I pulled the Shark Tape shape. I do that every time. How many of you do that? How many of you trip up and call it Shart? I think we all have. The Tarte Shape Tape, I've used that. I love the Shape Tape. I know that's like an unpopular opinion, but it's got great coverage. If you put it over top of the right base, it can work really well, so I love that. I had also pulled the Dior Forever Skin Correct. Y'all know that's a favorite. I love it. I still love it. I had pulled the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. This one's not so bad if I mix it in with another one because the tone is just way off. It's almost got like this gray undertone to it. So by itself, not so much, but when I mix it in with something else, it's really nice because it's got great coverage. And then last but not least, I had pulled the Hourglass Vanish concealer. This one's not my favorite because it's super drying, but like if I do a little dib and dab of like this and that, all of these work just fine. So that's kind of what I did all month. I didn't really use any one of these like by themselves so much. I liked using them in conjunction with each other. So it worked like that. I'm going to throw them all back in my makeup collection and pull new ones for this coming month. So my little spinner wheel hated me last month and it pulled a bunch of cream bronzers because it knew that I struggled with creams. I pulled the Fenty cream bronzer in Butter Biscuit. This one's a really great bronzer. It's actually one that I used as a contour today. You kind of can't tell because I threw a bunch of other shit on top. But I did contour with it. I've got it around the perimeter of my face. I got my neck a little bit. It's a fantastic cream product. So I would say if you have been wanting this, but you're not really sure about the consistency or the wear time or the tones, I can't speak for all of them. Obviously, I only have Butter Biscuit, but I really love this one. I'm pretty fair-skinned, and this one works really great as a contour and a bronzer. I had also pulled the Milk Makeup Bronzing Stick. This one's in Baked. I didn't use this all month. This one pulls very orange toned on me. It's kind of a rather stiff formula. It feels waxy and stiff. See, there it doesn't look too bad. But when I blend it out, it looks very Oompa Loompa-like. So, I don't really know. I'm gonna throw it back in my collection for now. We'll tackle that demon another day. So many people love that bronzer, and I guess it really just has a lot to do with your preference and your skin tone and all that jazz. Next up is the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is one I really enjoy. It's a little bit deeper than that Milk bronzer, and you would think this one would pull more orange because it kind of looks like that, but it doesn't. It has more of like a red type of undertone, and that's what I prefer in a bronzer. So I really love this. I've used it quite a bit. I used it a lot over the last month. It's going back into my makeup collection for now. Last but not least on the bronzers is the Pure Bronzing Act in Light. Yeah. This one is another one that I've gotten a lot of use out of. I already knew that I liked it before I pulled it in. It smells like chocolate. It performs beautifully. It doesn't pull too warm or neutral. It's like a great in-between bronzer for somebody with a fair or light skin tone. So I love this. I really don't have trouble getting use out of it any other time. I'm already starting to see the ridges in the pan. I'm going to throw it back in my collection for now. Almost done with the recap here, guys. I pulled a lot of stuff. You know what? I had also pulled a lot of stuff for next month because I already did that portion. I shouldn't be pulling so much. I think in the future I'm going to try to scale back just a little bit. I get excited shopping my stash. I just want to pull everything. Next up is the Nabla Skin Glazing Highlighter in Privilege. I did use this, I think, twice. It's a really beautiful highlight. It's got kind of that pinky type of champagne kind of undertone to it. And it's just a decent highlighter. It's not one of those beaming highlights, so if that's what you're looking for, this is not for you. It's more of that subtle type of glow, which isn't always a bad thing. So I really like it. I'm going to throw it back in my collection for now. I had also pulled the JD Glow highlighter in Chaos, and I was terrified to use this just because it is super chunky, like when you swatch it. If I can get that to kind of show you here. It just swatches like flaky and chunky. But I used it in the video where I pulled these products and I created that like blue and cotton candy kind of look is what it was. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it looked gorgeous. So I think that's the only time I used it this past month. It's just not a highlighter I can use on a daily basis because I cannot really wear something like this to work. I work in more of a professional setting, so if I show up with like pink or purple sparkly cheeks, I might get the side eye. But anyway, I do really like it. I'm glad that I forced myself to use it, and I'm going to throw it back in my collection for now. I had also pulled the ColourPop Light Sticks in Earth. It's a cream product, so I didn't use it. It's like right here. I need to stop buying so many cream products because I don't reach for them. And then when I'm trying to like force myself to use them, I still don't use them. So I'm not going to keep this in this rotation. I'm going to throw it back in. If I get a wild hair at some point, we'll use it then. And then I'd also pulled 2 of the Artist Couture highlighters. I have one in Purple Dream. It's an orange toned highlighter. It shifts purple. And then I had also pulled, which one's this? Illuminati, which is a very blinding, like champagne, yeah, like a champagne kind of highlighter. They're both gorgeous. They're just very, like Purple Dream's very glittery and purple, and this one's very blinding and beaming. So it just depends, you know, what kind of day I'm having, what I'm looking for. I don't think I used Purple Dream this month because it's, being that it shifts purple, it's one of those highlighters that has to go along with a makeup look, you know, a specific look that you're going for. So for that reason alone, I'm going to stick it back into my collection for now. If I have a look like that, I'll reach for this one. As far as Illuminati, this one's a little too blinding for what I typically go for these days. But it's still a beautiful highlighter. So if you're looking for a beaming highlight, like a beaming champagne type of highlight, you might really enjoy this one. It's not that I don't, it's just not one that I reach for all the time. So, gonna put it back in my collection, and I don't think I used that this month. I don't think I did. Okay, last but not least, my eyeshadow palettes that I pulled. So, the first one I pulled was the Glam palette from Natasha Denona. I did get some use out of this. I used it for several different eye looks. I love this palette. This is not one that I struggle to use because it's so easy for me to use. I can use it for work. I can use it for kind of any occasion. So I really love this, and I'm glad that I got to kind of focus on it this month. I had also pulled the Picante palette from Carity. All I did with this one is swatch it this month. I didn't use it once. I don't know what it is about this. It just reminds me of like a Morphe palette. There's so many of like the same tone. And I probably have these kinds of colors and shades and whatever in other palettes so that I like more. So I'm not going to declutter it quite yet. I really would like to get at least some use out of it, but not so pressed on it where I feel like I need to keep it in this rotation. So I'm pulling it out of rotation, and hopefully I get some use out of it in the future. Next up is my Glam Light Ice Cream Dream. I did get some use out of this. I actually used it in the video where I pulled these products. If you guys saw that, you saw that I used this. This is such a beautiful palette. I'm glad that I own it. I'm glad that I pulled it in rotation to get some use out of it, and I'm going to throw it back in my collection for now. Last but not least, of all the products that I pulled, was the Pure Visionary palette. This is going to look a little bit strange. So this is the type of palette where you can actually pop the shades out because it's magnetic, which I love. And I pulled out all the shades that I liked, and I'm going to declutter the rest. It's just not a palette that I reach for. And I don't really care for like the satin and the matte shades in this palette, which is what's left. They're just not my cup of tea. They're not my favorite. So I pulled all of like the shimmery shades, the really blinding shimmery shades, because they're actually beautiful. Those are in my singles collection, and the rest of this is going in the trash. However, I am going to keep the palette because it's magnetic and I can make my own palettes with it. That is the recap of everything that I pulled for the month of January. I think I didn't upload that video until February, but I want to say that I pulled everything in January because I was just looking. I'm pretty sure I pulled all those products in January. Anyway, I've already pulled all the products for the next couple months. I'm going to insert that footage now so you guys can see what I've pulled. And then we'll wrap this video up. This has been quite the video. There's a lot of products in here. Okay, as you can tell, we are looking at the crazy foundation collection. For this round of Shop My Stash, I wanted to pick things that I never reach for or things that I haven't tried in a while. So one of the first things that kind of popped out at me was this Huda Beauty foundation stick. I bought this to review here on my channel, and I did, and I really enjoyed this. This is a great foundation stick for someone like me with oily skin. I have mine in Vanilla 120B. I just really like this, and I haven't really used it since I did that review. I've only used it a couple times, so I'm going to pull this one. All right, another foundation that I was kind of wanting to pull back out is the Physicians Formula Healthy Glow Foundation. I bought this one a long time ago at the recommendation of Samantha March. I think it was Samantha March. And I actually really liked it, but I haven't used this in probably a year and a half or more. So let's pull that. What else do I want to pull? I want to pull like at least 2 more, just because I switch up my foundations so frequently anyway. Okay, another foundation I haven't used in a really long time, if I can get to it here, is my Beauty Blender, what is this? The Bounce Liquid Whip Longwear Foundation. It's not the right tone for me. It's way too dark for my skin tone, but I can always mix it in with something lighter. I do want to try that again. And I'm going to be a little bit ballsy here and pull something that I know I typically do not like. I really want to declutter this entire section to be more manageable, but to do that, I want to retry things that I'm not really sure about or things I haven't tried in a really long time. Let's pull the Hourglass Seamless Finish Liquid Foundation. I did a review of this on my channel a long time ago, back when I first started my channel, and I hated this foundation, hence why there's like very little taken out of this bottle. Let's pull this and see if I can't maybe use it as a mixer, give it another try. Is that it? Do we just want to use those 4? I need to pull something that's not as heavy, just in case I have a day where I don't want to wear a lot of makeup. You know what? I bought this a long time ago after watching Kathleen Lights use it. Again, not the right shade at all. And I can't remember how I felt about it. I feel like this was not a favorite product, but we're going to pull it now and use it on, lighter days. There is the lineup. Okay, let's pick out some primer. Not going to pick that one. That's my favorite, trusty, tried and true. I had actually pulled this Cover FX primer before and didn't end up using it, so I'm going to pull this one. You know what? I used to love this. This is the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. I used to use it all the time when I first got into makeup, and I haven't used this in a very long time. This is actually a new sample. I'm going to pull this one. Notice that neither of those are like suited to oily skin, which is why I don't ever use them. I haven't used this one in a while either. This is my Too Faced Primed and Peachy. Let's pull this one as well. And you know what? I still hear people raving about this e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, and I just never got on with it very well. Maybe I didn't use it with the right foundations. Let's pull this one too. Okay, next up is my concealer and odds and ends drawer. I actually just got a new concealer from Tarte. It's in another location, but it's their shape tape, but it's their creamy version. I really need to go through this entire drawer and declutter. This is ridiculous. I haven't used my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in a really long time. I can't even remember if this is one that I really liked. So let's pull this one. If nothing else, it's super light, so I can use it as like a brightening tool. Okay, this is another one that I don't remember. I don't remember liking this one. This is the Kylie Concealer. Way too light, again, for my skin tone, so I can use this for brightening. But I don't think this was a favorite. I feel like I really didn't like this one. You know what? I just thought about something. I haven't used this Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer probably since I first got it because it's like white. But maybe I can use this as an eyelid primer before I do eyeshadow. So let's pull this one. I need one more that's going to be like a decent concealer because I don't know how I feel about the other ones. I'm also going to pull my Too Faced Born This Way Concealer. This is one that I've really enjoyed for a long time. So we got to have one that I know that I like. Let's pull this one. I think I want to pull the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Foundation and Concealer. I actually really like this. It's a little bit light for my skin tone, but I want to pull it anyway, and I don't know if I'm going to use it like as a concealer or foundation, but it's going in rotation. Okay, next up is my powder drawer. So the first thing that I'm going to pull is this Lancome Absolute Powder. I bought this a long time ago because I saw Jaclyn Hill, amongst other people, raving about this powder, and I bought the wrong damn shade. I mean, it's peach. Absolute Pearl, it says, but it should say Absolute Peach. This shit is like orange. But I figure if I use this over top of a foundation that's too light, it might work out. Let's pull it. Look at the awful packaging. Like, this powder is like $60. Should have better packaging than that. Come on, Lancome. Alright, what else do I want to pull? I've been using a lot of the Pretty Vulgar lately. I'm gonna pull my Too Faced Peach Perfect setting powder. This is actually a brand new one that I bought because I went through my first one that I had. I love this setting powder. It tastes yummy. It does a fantastic job keeping your face matte. Let's pull this one. I really don't have as many setting powders as I do like other products. I know it looks crazy, but a lot of these I really should just declutter because I'm not using them. And some of these are like powder foundations. Like this one, the Smashbox is a powder foundation. This is a powder foundation. Actually, let's pull this. This is the Too Faced. I pulled some Too Faced today. This is their Cocoa Powder Foundation, and it smells like chocolate. And this powder, y'all, I'm not joking. This powder is as smooth as butter. It feels so silky smooth. It reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury powder. Just how soft it is. So I'm going to pull that. I'm definitely going to declutter this soon. I have actually a lot of decluttering to do. Hence all the skincare on my vanity. Yeah, that's coming soon. But I'm also going to declutter my entire makeup collection because I'm just tired of looking at all this stuff I'm not using and stuff that I know I'm not going to use. So be looking forward to that if you like declutters. You know what? Let's keep it simple with 3 powders. I'm going to keep it with that. Now we're moving into my contour and bronzer drawer. Another section that I don't have like an overwhelming amount of product. I mean, it's a little bit. What do I want to use? I can't remember what I pulled last rotation. I'm getting old. Should I pull the good old Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer? Look at this. My daughter uses this all the time. I haven't used it in forever. It came busted when I first got it, and we repressed it. This is what's left. Should we pull it? Let's pull it. Ooh, let's pull the Revlon Skin Lights Bronzer. This one's actually really good. I got this one probably over a year ago. This one's in Sunlit Glow. I really like it, though. It's a beautiful bronzer. It's nice and shimmery. And yeah, it's a good drugstore option. It's not too warm. Come on and focus. It's not too warm. It's just, it's really nice. I feel like that one and the Physicians Formula are pretty similar. So I want to pick something that's, you know, maybe a little different. I'm going to force myself to use the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. This is not a favorite. It's just not the right tone for my skin tone. It's way too warm. Ends up looking a little bit orangey on my skin. But it's a Spency bronzer, and we need to get some use out of her. So let's pull her. You know, I've heard a lot of people rave about this Milk Stick bronzer. It's in Baked. I just never really saw the appeal with it. So let's pull it. Makes a whole lot of sense, right? I do need like a contour stick, contour something. I really only have a few. You guys have heard me talk about this one from Vanity Makeup numerous times here on my channel. I really enjoy this contour shade. Do I want to pull this one? I have this one, and I also have this contour stick from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This one's in the shade Fawn, and this one's really good as well. You know what? I'm going to pull the Anastasia Beverly Hills one for now. And down to one of my favorite drawers of all time, the blush drawer. What do I want to yank? You know, I'm so scared of cream blushes, yet I keep buying them. This one is just so, like, look how emollient that looks. It scares me. Should I pull it anyway? Let's pull it anyway. We're just going to live on the edge. You know what? This is a very beautiful, beautiful blush if you like bright blushes. This one's in the shade, whoops, Hot Frenzy. I love this one. I'm going to pull this. These are like little miniature Tarte blushes. They're sample sizes. I can't remember where I got these from. They're really beautiful though. Ouch. Let's pull that one. I've actually never used this. This is one of their blush lights in Nevermore. And it's supposed to be like a blush slash highlighter. I don't know, maybe like a topper. I guess we'll pull that. I haven't used these M Cosmetics blushes in a really long time. I have this one in Magic Hour. Well, it's Heaven's Glow Magic Hour. And it's just a really pretty, like, baked blush. that I just dropped on the floor because I'm a dumbass and it didn't break. How? And then I also have this one, which is in Faded Clementine. And this one is like a, if I can get it open, this one is like a bronzy orangey kind of shade. Let's pull this one. Actually, let's just pull both of them and get the hell out of the blush drawer. Okay, let's dig into the highlighter drawer. Holy cow. This is another section that really needs to be decluttered. Highlighters are so, like, conditional on your eyeshadow and everything else, so they're a little hard to pick out when you don't know what you're using. I haven't actually used Mars Melter yet. It's a very chunky, like glittery type of highlight. But let's pull it anyway. And that was from Kaleidos. I also want to pull the Space Age Prophecy. This is like one of my favorite highlighters of all time. Such a beautiful, multi-dimensional highlighter. Like, I can't get over it. I love this highlighter. We need some neutral going on just in case here. I'm going to pull this one. It's called Seismic. I can't remember when I got this one, but it's really pretty. It's just really, like, icy, which I don't typically reach for. I haven't used my ABH Amrezy highlighter in a while. Let's pull that one. Should I pull one more for good measure? I just like shopping my collection. It's fun. I really love this palette from Dior. Let's pull this one too. Okay, this is a fun drawer. So these are shadows that I either made or shadows that I pressed from pigments that I had from other companies, and none of them turned out the way I wanted, really. Little sneak peeky. I know. I'm gonna pull the Jaclyn the Flash palette. I haven't used this in a really long time. I don't think I've used it in a long time. Have I used it? I don't remember. I actually really like this highlighting palette. It's got some beautiful shades in it. Let's pull that. Okay, I'm also going to pull my Jouer blush palette because I don't ever use it. It's got some really beautiful colors in here. So let's yank this. I actually really love this Tarte Park Avenue Princess palette. It is so good. I'm going to go ahead and... do I want to pull this? Yeah, let's pull it just in case I want to add to the bronzer. This is the fun drawer. So these are all my Divina shadows on top. And I would typically just pull the whole palette, but I did get in some new sparkly goodness over the past week. I finally got my Terra Moons collection, and I am stoked. So the new Terra Moons shadows are these first two rows here. So we're going to pull this palette, and I'm going to use some of those. Moving into my mascara hell. Oh, Lord have mercy. This drawer gives me so much anxiety. This is... I keep saying I'm going to declutter this, and I just haven't done it yet. Okay, I have this Il Maquillage mascara that I haven't really used, so let's pull that. I can't remember which ones I hate and which ones I love. This is going to be scary. Some of these just need to go straight in the garbage. I really love the new Benefit They're Real, the magnetic mascara. Oh, they're so good. It's a good mascara. The Tarte Man-Eater is really good. The Full Frontal from Fenty Beauty is actually decent. What do I want to pull? Like, I should pull something I haven't used in a while. I'm going to pull this, this Wander Beauty Unlashed. I used to really like this one, and I have no idea what I think of it now. So let's pull that. And last but not least, I'm going to pull the Bite Beauty Upswing. I got this from Influencer, did a review on it, really liked it, and haven't used it in a little while. I get kind of on these kicks of using the same mascaras, and I've been using the Tarte Man-Eater. So we're going to leave that one in here for right now. Let's get out of that drawer. Okay, we're going to take a little trip underneath the vanity. Okay, so this is the stuff that I either received in subscription boxes, you know, my Ipsy Glam Bag, BoxyCharm, or stuff that I purchased this month. So I do want to pull out the Tarte. This is their Ultra Creamy Shape Tape. I really, really like this so far. I've used it quite a few times, but I'm going to pull this one. I have mine in 12N. I also want to pull the Adept Ninhydrin palette. I've worn this in a recent video for you guys, but I just haven't showed you the palette in action. I haven't done like a full review or anything because I've been battling some health issues and just couldn't film. So I do want to pull this and get some use out of it this month. I also purchased the new set of like bold lipsticks from Propa Beauty. So I might use some of those this month, but I'm going to leave them there for right now. Okay, this is the first palette drawer. Honestly, I don't even know what the hell to pull out here. Let's pull this Be Perfect Carnival 3 palette. This is a stunning palette, and I haven't gotten anywhere near the amount of use out of it that I'd like to, so it was on top. Let's pull that. You know what? I bought this Ménage à Moi and never used it. This is from ColourPop. I mean, I've swatched it a few times, never put it on the lids. Let's pull that. Have I even used this? I don't even think I ever used this. Let's pull Baby Got Peach. I don't use these palettes, like, hardly at all anymore. Look at this beautiful coral shade. Let's pull Dream Street. Oh, this used to be like one of my favorites. This is the Sweet Talk palette from ColourPop. Used to be a favorite. It's springy enough. Let's pull that one. So far we've got 1, 2, 4 ColourPop palettes. Uh-oh. This is the hard part, is pulling palettes because, well, because. You like my explanations? I'm going to pull the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. I feel like this has some really pretty springy colors in it too. Like, look at that mint green. The lilac, like the sherbet shade. Let's pull this one. This is such a stunning palette anyway. I love this one. And let's pull like one more. Let's pull that one. Let's pull Pistachio from BH Cosmetics. I'm pulling way too many palettes, and I know. I can't help it. Ooh, I want to pull this one. This is the 35, what is this, 35M? The Boss Mood from Morphe. I haven't used it in a really long time, and it does have some really beautiful shades in there. And then I also want to pull the Jaclyn Hill palette, the Volume 2, because look at those. Come on now. Look at those beautiful, bright, vibrant shades. Not all of them, but there's some beautiful shades. Let's pull that. I just realized I didn't pull like anything neutral. The most neutral I have is the Sweet Talk and the Ménage à Moi. So I'm gonna pull like one neutral palette. Like, I need a neutral palette. Okay, so originally I was like tossing up between Soft Glam and Sultry, and then I remembered I haven't tried Subculture in a long time. I actually purchased this from TJ Maxx well after it like blew up on YouTube for being a horrible palette, and there was so much controversy around this palette. And I didn't really experience the issues that a lot of other people did. I thought that this was pretty decent, but I didn't use a lot of the shades. So I'm going to pull this one. Let's get some use out of Subculture. Yeah. So we got a lot going on for shadows. I probably picked way too much. Actually, I know I did. It's just hard. It's hard to only pick a couple palettes when you have so many. So we're going to cycle through some of those. So there is the selection, guys. I'm excited. Alright, I don't know why I pulled so many products. I shouldn't have pulled as much as I did. I feel like it's too hard for me to focus on that much at once. I just get excited, like when I'm going through my collection and picking stuff out. I just want to pick everything because I'm so excited it feels like I'm shopping. So just that's like a note to myself. In the future, I'm really going to try to keep it specific to maybe like 2 things in each category, 3 at the very most. Picking like 8 or 10 eyeshadow palettes was stupid. I don't know why I did that. I'm never going to be able to use them all. So I'm sorry you guys had to sit through all of that. But in the future, I'm going to try to do better about that. But that's going to wrap up this video. If you guys like this kind of video from me, please be sure to thumbs it up. Not only does that let me know that you like it, but it also lets YouTube know that you like it. And when you guys do that, it'll push this content out there for more people to find, which means more people come over to this community. And I'm so grateful when you guys do that. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, but you've been enjoying my content, maybe you've been lurking a little bit, maybe this is your first video that you've watched, but you enjoy what you're seeing, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell so you don't miss future uploads, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.